Hello everyone and welcome to episode 109 of Two Left Thumbs, your source of weekly gaming news, deals and discourse. My name is Deft Puppies. Joining me on the cast this week is a man who needs no introduction because I've done it 3 times tonight already and about a million other times on the podcast. Static, how are you, man?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. It's been a little mission, hasn't it?
It has been getting started. We Discord had decided to do things with the video recording, which I didn't like so much, and then my brain decided to do things I didn't like so much and just model everything about. But yeah, we're here eventually.
This is content creator things, man. You got to deal with lighting softwares, things that don't work your way. Yep. This is how we do.
To check. Yeah, I mean, I'm just. Yeah, no, we're good. We're recording. We're fine. It's
we're
okay.
Recording.
We're
you
recording.
Don't know how many. You don't know how many times I've kind of looked down and just saw on either OBS or whatever it is I'm using at the time that little button that says start recording.
Oh,
you're like,
yeah, I've done that. I've done that maybe 3 or 4 episodes here.
Yeah,
and we're like half an hour in, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just throw all the toys out then and just go home. Yeah. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. I've been plenty busy with the old Drifto Caro, so that's been keeping me plenty busy.
I was catching up with that on Instagram. You finally got it out for a spin. How did that go?
Not well.
Not well.
No. I got about 5 minutes of seat time in it, and maybe half of that was actually decent. Yeah, but if are you happy enough to get into all that sort of stuff now?
Yeah, let's do
that.
Go for it. Yeah,
we're here. All right. So for anyone that doesn't know, I've been building for the last 12 months, essentially, been building a Nissan Navara D22 as a drift ute or drift truck or whatever you'd like to call it. I finally got it up and running to the point where I can get it to the track and give it a bit of a shakedown run. And that run was an absolute failure. And I should have read the signs because it was an absolute failure like 2 to 3 nights beforehand. It was an absolute struggle all the way. It was an absolute struggle all the way. But I'm like, no, we've paid the entry. We're going to get there. We've paid the entry. We've hired the trailer. We're going to get there. So get there we did, not without having to replace a brake booster and a brake caliper. So brakes are the theme of the month at the moment. Kind of important, especially on a racetrack.
Yeah.
So got it out there. It seemed to be doing its thing okay, but I'd seized a caliper before we went out, and I blew up my brake booster as well. So new brake booster, which thankfully Nissan, you guys are amazing. You make all your stuff fit other stuff, so everything's kind of interchangeable. I managed to get a brake booster out of like an S15 Silvia. So that makes it more legitimate now as a drift car, because it comes from drift car things, right? And then that's right.
I'm assuming.
And then I dug another caliper out of the dirt because that's where I like to keep my spare brake calipers, in the dirt. And I thought, you know what, this one's probably going to seize too, but at least I might be able to get some time out of it. I didn't get much time out of it. I got 3 or 4 laps. I think they were running for like 3 minutes per sort of group, then sending the next group out, like, group off the track, next group out sort of thing. So I got 3 minutes, and on the way back into the pits, I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel good. I know what this feels like. So that's another seized caliper. So luckily, Mrs. Static came with me. She did the super cheap run, bought some bits and pieces that I needed her to buy for me while I was busy pulling some stuff apart. So I managed to sort of just Band-Aid fix it to get it up and running again.
Yep.
Took it out for another run, and for whatever reason it was just coughing and spluttering and not really responding the way it should. And for anyone that doesn't know, like, I've turbocharged this car. It's not meant to be turbo to start with. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that a normal turbo car would these days. So it's a bit of a mission, and there's a lot of supporting mods that go into it. So yeah, when things don't run right, you don't know what they are. You don't know what the issue is. So you sort of limped it back over into the pits and when I got over there, I sort of popped the bonnet and went, oh, that doesn't sound right. I could hear just like a massive exhaust leak. So I looked over and there was like 2 nuts missing off the back of the turbo. So it had sort of lifted away from the manifold a bit. So between the turbo and the manifold, blew the gasket out. So that was another run to another shop to try and find another gasket, and then to Bunnings to try and match the bolts and do all sorts of stuff. Some magic occurred. Everything went back together. I went, righto, we're going out now. It's time to give this thing a proper run. And on the way back out to the track, the other side caliper seized. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to drive through this. If my brakes catch on fire, one of the marshals can put me out, and that's the day done. So
literally going out in a blaze of glory. I like it.
Yeah.
I need to track back a little bit in this story. I want to talk about the caliper and the dirt for a minute. So was this like Pirates Buried Treasure? You had like a map, or were you like just searching around the yard with a metal detector, or was it one of those things you just kind of knew where it was?
I kind of it was kind of a bit of a buried treasure map sort of deal. I did know where it was, or where I left it, I should say, and where I left it was on top of a toolbox that sort of sits underneath a carport in my backyard. Now, this is a dog ate your homework sort of deal. One of my dogs is very boisterous and he likes to jump around and carry on. I can only assume he's knocked it off this toolbox and into the dirt. And it looked like it had been sitting there for some time. So,
right.
Yeah, that's how that happens. So I went, oh, well, we'll see how this goes. And obviously it didn't go well because it seized sort of first run out. But then, once the other one seized, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I didn't even get a lap. Didn't even get a full lap out before it wouldn't let me go anywhere. I was having starting issues for whatever reason. I literally haven't had one starting issue. I can go out there every single day and just start it now, turn the key, bang, starts, no problem. For whatever reason, on this track day, starting issues all day.
Oh, so poor little Project Nasty's got some performance issues.
Yeah, so with
it's a bit shy. You gotta make it feel a bit braver.
Yeah, so I'm giving it new brakes. And look, I mean, I'm not surprised things like that sort of thing happened because that car had been sitting around for 10 years before anyone had done anything with it. So it's things like that, they perish if they're not used all the time. They just kind of stop working.
Yeah,
especially for that amount of time. So rubber seals sort of dry out and crack and all sorts. So it was to be expected. But yeah, that was its maiden voyage. So now I'm on the brake upgrade trail. So I'm not just going to put the standard brakes back in it. I'm going to go bigger and better because I've kind of got the bulk of it together. So anything now that sort of breaks and whatever else, I'm going to do bigger and better and spend the money on. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing.
That's awesome. It's good to see you've been working on that project for a year now.
Yeah, a little over 12 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to see it almost coming together.
Almost. It got to a track. So
it got to a track. That's a good start.
Yeah. The good thing with that is though, like, I mean, I wasn't sure how I'd take to it, which is like a really bad way to start, by the way. Like if anybody out there, you're probably not, but if anybody out there is thinking of doing something like it, don't build a car before you go and do it. Because you might get it's like streaming, you can excuse me, you can build like, your $5,000 streaming rig and whatever else, and then start your first stream and go, I hate this. It could be the exact same thing. I hate this. I'm not good at it. I don't ever want to do it again. And you've spent what I've spent on something that shouldn't do what I'm trying to make it do anyway. So, yeah, that's that.
Lessons learned, and a valuable lesson for anyone out there. I guess maybe.
Maybe.
So, given we're a slightly game-centric podcast, you've been playing anything recently?
StaticAus actually, to sort of coincide with what I'm doing. Obviously, I sit at my sim rig for most of the time, doing any kind of creatory, contenty type stuff anyway. So I sort of set up a StaticAus for drifting across my 3 screens, which sort of had a little bit of trouble with earlier trying to set up. So I didn't have you like hugging me in full surround, which was really
That's what you
I
want.
was
though,
okay with
right?
it. Actually,
It's
I was okay with it. Yeah.
The family might like walk in and just see this guy hugging the screens like Static.
Yeah.
What's good, Dad? What's going on?
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, cool. It's good. It's good.
It was cool. Yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
So talk to me about it. Is it just it's a sim racer? Yeah.
Essentially a sim racer. Yeah, like a StaticAus itself is just just a sim racer, but obviously with PC games being highly moddable, there's a lot of people out there doing different mods for it, and like a different launcher for it gives you a whole different control over the game. So yeah, it's a lot of people are using it in that version for drifting.
Right.
And it lends itself really well to it because everybody, people are modding cars to be exactly like their own car, or
That's cool.
or tracks to be like millimeter specific. You know what I mean? Like they're perfect sort of replicas of the actual tracks that people drift at.
Yeah.
So like the beauty of that is someone that might be going to a competition in a month's time can practice from home, not trying to ruin their $50,000-$60,000 drift car. You know what I mean? Like they can practice from home on a
track
on a $2,000 or $3,000 setup and not breaking it. So they know how the track works, the layout of the track, how to get around it, best ways to sort of go through corners or whatever else. And by the time they get out to the track, they know what to expect. So all they've really got to adjust to is how the car actually reacts, and like the surface or any kind of track nuances like bumps, ripples, or anything like that they might encounter. So,
weather as well, or is that fairly
translated
you can in games?
You can introduce weather into it and all that sort of gear as well, and it's effective. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's it's got like a really solid kind of modding community behind it, so you can do
it's massive
stuff like that. Yeah. Especially with everything with this for last year being the last year, with e-racing and stuff like that coming around, it would have been giving people a lot of time on tracks that they can rehearse before they get back to the actual circuits.
Absolutely. Yep. And a lot of championships have been held online too now. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
I've seen a lot of that coming up lately.
A lot of the big name sort of races have done it. At least a round or two of actual online racing. There's been online drift championships sort of pop up here, there, and everywhere because of it. So it's it gives people, especially when they're stuck at home. You look at guys from Melbourne. There's a massive drift community in Melbourne, and a lot of those guys were in lockdown for like 4 or 5 months straight. So, like a lot of them, they get a lot of time to spend working on their cars, but they also get a couple of hours a night sort of drifting and whatever else. So it's still, at least, people could still be doing something to sort of better themselves on what it is they're into.
They can keep practicing as opposed to just kind of coming off the shelf 4 months later, rusty as fuck, and then putting either totaling the cars or doing some serious damage. It's going to cost them more to repair.
That's right. Yep.
Keep them sharp, which is good. It's like online training. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what about yourself? What have you been up to?
Man, I've finished games.
Hey, look out!
Hey, look at that! Like, I mean, I got sidetracked from Valhalla by Cyberpunk, and then I got sidetracked by Cyberpunk for Doom, and then I got sidetracked for Doom to the Medium, and then I got sidetracked from both of those to the Falconeer. So I've been busy.
Which of those have you finished?
So I finished Doom Eternal. Which is just, oh man, I love Doom games. 2016 I loved like a shit ton, and I'm like, Doom Eternal is just more of that but better. Chaotic as fuck, and they had some like really big boss battles in this one. So I think as far as I remember with 2016, there wasn't any like really big stage fight kind of.
I don't remember any.
I don't remember any, and
if they were, they weren't really noteworthy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. There was more the arena fighting. There was the little bit of like main bosses in like higher ranking demon kind of things. But in this one, they had this massive stage fights where you'd have this. I think one of them was this fucking massive robot demon fucking thing that was like 1,000 feet tall and just loomed over like this platform that you were on, and you had to like dart around and murder things and then shoot off its shield, do enough damage to shoot off its shields, and then do damage to it again. It went through like 3 or 4 phases, so it was the fight was very endurance based. It wasn't like there was no like super complicated mechanics, but it was just like, here's a big boss you've got to damage, and here's all the enemies in the game all at once. Have fun. And by the way, this guy throws his fists at you and breathes fire. So you have select platforms that you can be on. Very stressful. Ammo isn't a problem, which is, I'm assuming, why they throw so many enemies at you, because it's you need a lot of bullets, especially with the way that I use the BFG.
Yep.
Because, you know, it's like, oh, here's a gun that you used in the game to put a hole through fucking Mars. Take a smaller version of it. You can use it to clear a room and do massive single target damage. I missed nearly every fucking shot.
Of course.
With a room clearing fucking gun. I shot it into a thing of demons and they all, like, half of them lived. I'm like, what the fuck? Ripped off. So yeah, Doom Eternal's great. Would highly recommend it to anyone that likes very fast first-person shooters. It's a lot of fun, a lot of chaos, and a lot of gore, which is all the best things.
How was the grapple mechanic in it? Because that's one thing that really, like, it really sort of drew me in. Obviously, coming from, you know, the Titanfall sort of thing, that excited me to no end.
It was a lot of fun. So the grapple mechanic isn't like something you start off with. It's attached to the super shotgun, which I think you get in the first. Yeah. Just like not in about just before halfway, I think.
Yeah.
But the way they work is you can fire the grapple at any enemy. There's a small like 5-second cooldown. So you're just constantly grapple, which, you know what, would be dangerous. Not a lot of fun, but dangerous. And if you shoot the enemy that you're grappled to, as you get there, they will drop armor. Or once you've upgraded the shotgun, they'll drop you armor. So there's a good reason. So you can latch onto an enemy, kill the guy, you'll get armor. The other way to get armor is you have a flamethrower on your shoulder and you burn them. And as you do damage to them, they'll drop armor as well. Which is really interesting. I'll get into that in the way that kind of changed some of the ways you get ammo and stuff. But the grapple works exactly like you'd want it to. I found ways that I could fling myself around, and do the slingshotting like you could in Titanfall. And it's not as refined, but you could kind of you could get a good semicircle going on and swing yourself behind a demon. And
so is it kind of a bit more like Pathfinder or something in Apex Legends, like, because it wasn't, his grapple wasn't quite as good as in Titanfall. A bit more linear, but
it's probably the best comparison. You can slingshot yourself around a little bit, and you can use it to kind of like pull yourself off a gap using an enemy as well. Funnily enough, the weight and size of the enemy doesn't matter. So if you've got this tiny little demon and you hook into him, it will pull you towards him, which is hilarious because you're this big fucking like 10-foot Doom guy. He's like dragging your entire weight and an arsenal of weapons on this tiny fucking demon, and then just poof. It's brilliant. But back to the grapple. Yeah, a lot of fun. Works. Yeah, I think Pathfinder's probably, from Apex Legends, is probably the best comparison you'll get. I'm hoping that's how the grapple in Halo works too. Because there's the one in Halo Infinite that kind of showed off. I kind of hope that's how they kind of look at that, because that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, so they've changed the way you get ammo and resources now. So before it was just glory kills for ammo and health, and now it's glory kills for health, and then something else for, oh god, I've already forgotten. And then there's another method for glory kills for health, and then ammo is chainsaw.
Yep.
So you get your chainsaw, you cut them. That's right. Before you glory with it, you get glory kills and chainsaw. You can just get both. It kind of gives you a mix. But they've made it more specific now. So it was glory kills was health, chainsaw was ammo, and then the flamethrower on your shoulder, you burn them and you get armor.
Yep.
So you've kind of got to look at what it made you in amongst all the chaos kind of think about it a lot more. So you've got, all right, I need my health's good. I'm desperately low on ammo, so I need to weaken a guy to get to a point, or find someone that can chainsaw easily, because different demons require different low amounts of chainsaw fuel. And some you just can't do until they're incredibly weak. And there's others you can one shot, so you look for those smaller guys usually to try and get that. Although there's nothing more satisfying than getting one of the big guys with the chainsaw when he goes to fuck you up, and one hitting you is like, bye, thank you for the ammo that I would have wasted on you. So yeah, it's really cool. I like the way they've done it. It makes you think amongst all the chaos and try and plan things out while also struggling to stay alive. Good fun.
So do you start with a chainsaw in this one, or is that another thing you kind of pick up with maniacal laughter? Oh, you start with it.
You start with a chainsaw.
Because that's the one thing I really did like about 2016 is you pick that up somewhere along the line. And because
they introduced it as like a new mechanic,
and for myself, because I'd completely, the last one I played was in like 8-bit or something. I'd completely forgotten about the chainsaw. So the maniacal laughter that came over me when I finally picked that thing up, I'm like, oh, here we go. And I might have even been on stream or something, and people were like, are you okay? Like, well, yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good. I've got a chainsaw, guys. Yeah.
Ring, ring, ring. I was much the same with the minigun this time around.
Yeah.
Just because it's a minigun, and I got it. I was very, very excited, and every time it's like Bert, minigun goes Bert for about the first hour. And that was me until I got the BFG and discovered that the upgraded the auto rifle, the heavy machine gun enough, where it turns into, you can change it into a sniper rifle, because each weapon has 2 mods you can put on it if you find the upgrades. And I had the sniper rifle one, and the headshots have a very satisfying sound. Like it sounds like a soda. It sounds like a Coke bottle lid going pop, or a beer bottle. It's that kind of noise. It's very Grunt birthday party. Yeah. And I was like, yes. and so it made me want to hit headshots, which was strange and difficult. We got there. It was all right.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was that one. Love the shit out of that. I might even pick up the DLC at some point, because I played that on Game Pass. And the DLC isn't there, but apparently the DLC is pretty good and a lot harder than the base game, which is interesting. Be good to see how that pans out. And then I've been playing the Medium, which I've almost finished. I haven't quite finished it. I've only got like half an hour left. I was going to try and squeeze it in before the cast. So I say, yeah, I've finished 2 games, but no, I've just finished one. Just one. Sorry guys, just one. But the Medium's, I'm having an interesting time with it, because horror bores the shit out of me. I was like, it doesn't. I'm just like, oh no, a jump scare. Oh no, tension and creepy things. Yeah, it doesn't. It's something that doesn't really bother me too much, but I'm really, really appreciating the kind of environments and world they've built, because they are like super creepy, and they're like when you switch over to like the spirit world, I guess it is. I can't remember what it's called in game, but everything's all like goopy, and like it's like you're walking around this building, and the hallways kind of look like you're walking through like almost like inside someone's body. It's like that wet, trippy, intestinal kind of look, with like lots of skulls and rotting things, and it looks really fucking cool. The game is gorgeous, and the story is interesting enough to have kept me going, because I want to know what's going on, which is really, really good. And for anyone that kind of appreciates horror games, I think they'll really, really enjoy it. There's some interesting little puzzles in there. This is the one where you've got like dual realities that are loaded both at the same time, so you can switch between realities at any time. Like, well, not at any time. There's points like you have to go to a mirror.
Yep.
Or hold down B to have an outer body experience, and you can separate from your physical self, which opens up different areas of the map to unlock for your physical self to get through.
Right.
So there's lots of interweaving through the worlds and puzzles and just ways of just getting around this building. You're all kind of woven together through this system, and it's really, really, really well done. Like, you have to find something in the spirit world, open it or find it, and then use that to open a door in the spirit world, which will unlock the door in the regular.
Yep.
And stuff like that. That's very basic. It's not too complicated.
I'll follow.
Yeah. A really good game, great story, gorgeous graphics. My only major complaint is I've had quite a few frame drops. Like, when your realities are going to split in game for like a. This is going to happen like a
frame drop giveaway.
Story moment. Just, here we go. Story time. But aside from that, runs really well. Great game. Only very short. I've been doing it little bits by little bit because time and I kind of get a bit sleepy playing it.
Interest levels in horror games. Yeah,
interest levels in horror games. But I think it's like 6 hours to play. So if you're into that, definitely worth looking at. I think they've done a really, really good job of it. Hopefully, I might even finish it tonight after the podcast, and that way I can not spoil the ending, I guess.
Give us the 30-second sort of rundown on the premise and what it's about, because I know nothing about it. The first I heard of it, I think, might have been last week.
Right. Okay. So you're I can't remember her name. It's terrible. I'm great at this. You're a medium.
We'll call her Karen.
Karen. It starts with an M. It's really funny because it's an M.
Yeah,
and
Karen.
It's medium.
Yep.
Yeah, Karen. So McCarran.
The M silent.
On the spot reviews with Puppies. It's good, guys. It does stuff. But you have this ability which you've had since a kid, where you can kind of see another reality, or not really another reality. It's like where all the dead are. It's like kind of like limbo-esque hell kind of deal. So you grow up with that, and then a close friend of yours and a kind of father figure passes away, and this is where you open up into the game, and your first task is that you walk in, you're getting his funeral ready, and you start to like vibe on his presence in the room. For lack of a better description. And you have to release his soul, and then you get a phone call from a total stranger going, I know who you are and what you can do. I'm the same. Come and find me. And so you go to an abandoned resort.
Please don't kill me, Freaky Jason.
Please don't kill me, Freaky Jason. So you go to this. It's like meet me here. So you go to this abandoned resort, and you start working your way through trying to find this guy. And then you meet someone along the way, which kind of detours you out a little bit, and you start learning more about their story. I don't want to go too spoilery on it. And then you're just working your way through this creepy ass abandoned resort, trying to find out, because there was a mass killing there, and so you're running into all the dead and their souls, and you've got to kind of release their souls as they go, and find out. To do that, you've got to find out who they are. So you're like, here's a person, you go find out the story, and through that you find out what happened in this massacre and how it came about and who started it. So a lot of fun, a lot of weird shit. Have you ever watched the Legion TV series? It was like a...
I don't think so. I'll say no. I don't think so.
I think it's a Marvel thing. There's a guy in there that reminds me of the yellow-eyed demon in that, and it's
right. Okay.
It's just disgusting. It's like a more unattractive version of Jabba the Hutt, if that's possible.
Oh, lovely.
But with a person's head, and it's wild. Mad. Yeah. Great game. Fantastic, especially if you love the horror stuff. I think you'll really enjoy it. Fantastic story there. Lots of cool shit going on with the way they're running the game too. So worth checking. My other game this week I played a little bit of was the Falconeer, which is a little indie game on Game Pass where you play as a guy who drives a giant bird between islands, basically doing political missions and stuff and shooting some dudes. It's like some aerial combat in there, which is interesting.
Aerial combat on a bird.
Yeah, so you're riding on the back of like this giant fucking falcon. And like that's how in the world, that's how everyone kind of gets around in the main transport. Or they're kind of like fighter jets, but they're birds.
All I'm picturing when I hear aerial combat on a bird is just flying a bird around, like just guiding a bird as it flies around, dumping on people, which in my head looks amazing.
Not quite. You can drop bombs on people, but you have to pick them up. So the setting is like a series of small islands. So everything is mostly surrounded by ocean. And you start off as Falconeer. All right, you go do this mission. You kind of follow the story from there. And they're like, there's not. I wasn't really enjoying it too much. I had a lot of trouble with the camera, which is not great in a flying game because you kind of want to be able to smoothly operate the camera. I that was one of my initial response. I went response. That's the word, right? I don't know. I'm working hard here today, guys. But yeah, lots of trouble with the camera. I went back and changed some settings and did some stuff, and still couldn't quite get it to do what I want because it was very sensitive to start with. So I turned down the sensitivity and it was a little bit better. But yeah, it's a very very bare bones as well as far as mission structure is concerned. Like it's go here, shoot literally 3 other guys out of the sky, and then that's the mission. Now fly back and get another one. Yeah,
right.
So it was kind of, there wasn't not a lot of variety there. Looked really good though. It was pretty. Had that kind of Sea of Thieves cartoony vibe to it, which I like, which I quite like, which is kind of what drew me to it to start with.
Yeah, that's an art style I really did like. You know, like, especially in Sea of Thieves, like it worked really well, especially for, I guess, like the subject matter in that game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of flying between open spaces.
Yeah.
Which is again, two things I don't like: horror and traveling long distances. Because I'm just like,
give me that fast travel already. Yeah.
Give me that. Yeah, I need this fast. You do get fast travel points eventually, but but that's only to get back. So you still have to fly there, but you don't even really need to fly, because I got up to get a drink at one point and I came back and I'd arrived at my destination and I was getting shot at. So the bird must and I tried it out later on, and it does. It has an autopilot. Like you don't even have to fly. You can just put the controller down and watch your screen until it's like, oh, there's enemies here. You need to defeat them.
How good's that?
Great, right? So I might take more advantage of that and just like, all right, waypoint, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Here we go.
What game does that? That game I'm a heaps big fan of. Watch Dogs. In Legion, you can set auto drive. You can set auto drive. Go away. Go grab yourself a drink, and the car will literally drive with the traffic, do everything it needs to do, and get you to your spot.
They have a similar thing in Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
It gets you in trouble sometimes, especially if you have high wanted bounties in certain areas, and you ride through and you come back, you're like getting shot at by like 4 guys on horses chasing you down. It's like, oh fuck, here we go. But for the most part, you could, because it was such a big game, Red Dead. You could just boop, fast travel, follow the roads. You'll murder a few people along the way. It's whatever. You just run over them in your horse, or your horse will start doing weird shit. I got hit by a train once doing it. That was not ideal. It's kind of fast traveling across the tracks. Just down you go. Whoop.
Yeah.
Guess I'm getting another horse.
Nice.
Yeah, that's game. So I'm hopefully finishing the medium tonight. Hopefully, and then I'm gonna do the sensible thing, of course, and play an entirely new game that I haven't played yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Do what I do. Don't
ignore the 2 RPGs just staring at me from my hard drive. Come and play us. So yeah, I'm gonna be dipping into Control. Is the next one on my list.
Yeah, I don't have
yeah,
good words about it.
I know
You don't
you
know
don't
my
have good
stance on
words
that.
about it.
Great loved it. I definitely did not.
Yeah, I want to check it out because I've heard a few people don't like it. I've heard other people
Yeah,
fucking love it. So I'll see where I sit with it. But it's got weird shit with guns and it has to do with Alan Wake. So I'm kind of about it because I really did love the Alan Wake game
yeah,
when it came out. Really hoping that they follow this on because I know there's some DLC that involves Alan Wake a little bit. But
yeah,
I'm really hoping we see maybe another Alan Wake game in the future, and hopefully this
yeah.
is what brings it back, which is what I'm most hopeful for, to be honest.
Hopefully they don't do a Ubisoft with Sam Fisher on you.
Oh no. I don't need to be mad at another fucking game company for hiding and teasing me with fucking characters I love
Yeah,
just to put them in a shitty mobile game that nobody fucking wanted.
yeah.
Thanks, Ubisoft.
I mean, look, to their credit, they put him in other games as well. Like Ghost Recon Wildlands
Yes,
yeah,
all those
and things
games
of
I
the same.
play.
But then poor old mate ends up in a mobile game, and that's pretty much the end of him. So
Yeah, it's like, oh, by the way, Sam, you're a mobile game. And this is the thing that they're still holding on to this license, and I know that it's like it's just so they can keep the license, right? Because they need to put a game out. They don't have anything. Oh, we'll put him in a DLC of something, and we can keep him in the game. Because I think he's in Rainbow Six Siege now as well.
yeah, right.
He was like there was an event or something where he was a specialist or someone like him was a specialist, and they did the whole Tom Clancy Splinter Cell thing. I was like, oh,
Make it stop.
make it stop, because they full tease it like a proper game,
Yeah.
and then it's like coming to Rainbow Six Siege. I'm like, ugh. Just no.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just start a new podcast, right? Where it's just me fucking hating Ubisoft about fucking not releasing a Splinter Cell game.
I have a feeling that would get quite a following if it's just you ranting about Ubisoft. I imagine there's a lot of people out there that have got a rant or two.
All right, hang on, just excuse me, just gonna look up some quick Ubisoft rant podcast.
Niche market found.
Niche market found. I can't see anything. There's like official Assassin's Creed. There's a couple of YouTube brands.
Niche market found. That's
Niche
you.
market. I'm on it. That's me.
Let's switch immediately.
We'll be rebranding the podcast as of next week, ladies and gentlemen. We need a name. Where in the world is Sam Fisher? I like it.
Done.
Sorted.
Easy. You heard it here first.
You heard it first. Rebrand next week. I'll talk to Black Sword about some graphics and we'll get straight onto it.
That's it.
Yep. 2 thumbs is
Awesome.
done. Speaking of podcasts, you mentioned earlier, you're like, hey, I have a question for you that I know you have an opinion on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You want to hear that question?
I want to hear that question because it's been bugging me for the last 40 minutes.
I'm going to preempt the question though, and say I've really been enjoying you sort of having guests on and sort of reaching out, bringing guests on, and you kind of to me, that on the outside looking in sort of thing, you've kind of really hit a stride with it. You seem like you're really, really comfortable and really at home doing that sort of thing.
You want to know a hideous truth?
Yes.
I'm a fucking mess. I have no idea what's going on. I haven't even got a guess for next week yet.
You are not alone, let me tell you. Now, so my question is, how cool is it trying to organize guests?
It's so cool. It is so fucking cool.
I wish the audio only people could see that reaction.
Oh
it's,
god. For those who are listening audio only, I'll put that clip up on the fucking. I'll put that clip up on the socials on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us there.
It is an absolute nightmare, isn't it?
Oh, dude, it's just like it's like. I think the worst ones are the non-responses, like the people that just leave you on red, so you don't You don't know, right? And this isn't
Yeah.
on them, you know. They're busy or they're not interested. That's cool.
Yeah.
But if you're not interested, let me know, please.
Yeah, just a simple
My
nah.
anxiety can't handle that shit. I'm just like,
Just give me a nah.
nah, man, I'm good. Thank you so much. It's like, no. I'm just gonna leave that there and just ignore you.
You know what's
Feel like
worse, and I'm assuming you haven't had them yet, is, oh, that sounds really good. I'm really busy at the moment, though. It's something I definitely want to get into. I'll hit you up when I'm ready. Like, that's a no. That is a solid no.
I may have had one or two, not many, but
That is a solid no. Just say no.
yeah. I don't know. I've had like a well, I'll get back to you, and then nothing yet. So
yeah, I understand
we'll
people are trying to be polite when they're doing that, but you would honestly be more polite. Just
break my heart then, so I don't lose sleep over. Did I do something wrong? Are they ignoring me? Like I can't. I've got enough going on. I don't need that kind of shit in my head.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to be a guest,
I currently have about 20 messages out there read and not responded to. I have about 5. Yeah, we'll get back to you. And then I've had one. Yep, no worries. That sounds awesome, man. We'll tee it up. And then just everything else after that's ignored.
Yeah. Right. No, I've had I've had that before too. But it's I don't know if it's different for you, because we're kind of your podcast obviously focused on the automobiles and vehicular stuff, and mine in the gaming circuit, because I know a lot of your stuff is kind of around locally, right? From what I understand, from what I've heard.
For the most part at the moment, yes, but I'm sort of reaching further and further out. So I'm starting to get more Zoom stuff happening and all that sort of gear. Discord stuff's happened as well. So
you're actually getting Discords now.
Just a couple, because a couple of them are gamers too, so they use Discord.
So I was going to say,
I personally, out of all the options that we have to sort of video conference and whatever else with people, I personally prefer Discord over everything.
Yeah, right. I haven't had the pleasure of having to use Skype or Zoom yet for any of this stuff, which has been great. I've been really lucky there, because I've used Skype. I've used Skype when I was like fucking 10. Well, not 10. I don't think the internet existed then. But yeah, so I've used Skype like way back when. It was whatever. But I've used Zoom for a couple like group calls, and it's okay. But I can see recording off there would be a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah. I would think that for myself, a lot of people, they're a little bit hesitant with that sort of stuff, because a lot of car people, they keep to themselves anyway. But I would have thought, like, especially with the gaming industry, it would have been so much easier for yourself to reach out to people, and being content creators, streamers, or whatever, they're happy to sort of see themselves and put themselves out into something like that. It's very surprising that you'd struggle.
I think most of the struggle is me personally. Like I have a few people that haven't got back to me or do the YNR kind of thing. Probably not as many as you have. But you've been doing the guesting a little bit longer than me too now as well, and I'm not as active. Like I generally only plan like I'll approach like 3 people at a time, because if they all go yes we can do it this week, I'm like, well fuck, how the fuck am I supposed to work this? So that's just me. I'm kind of swinging it like a week or two ahead. Like I've got a guest in 2 weeks, but I haven't got one for this week coming yet. Which I'm gonna have to work on. So but yeah, it's mostly me, because approaching people like that out of the blue is something that I'm not 100% comfortable with. It's something I've always found quite challenging. Like even like just in general with people I know, I don't DM a lot of people. Like I don't have a lot of private conversations. Like most of my conversations are out in the public, because honestly I don't have anything to say that can't be said in public, unless it's like organizing a podcast, so I can kind of keep it on the down low and stuff like that. So I don't spoil, because I don't tell anyone who's coming on the next week, not because Not because I don't know who's coming on, I swear.
I have. It's not that I'm not trying to tell people who I'm going to have on or whatever else, but it's just easier to keep that list on the down low in case it falls through.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you say, "Oh, next week I'm going to have so and so," and they get busy, you know what I mean. It happens. They legitimately get busy and can't make it. Then you got to kind of scramble and do whatever else, and then you haven't delivered what you said you would. So it's just easier to not say it and deliver it when you deliver it. But I like for me personally, I sort of reach out maybe 4 weeks in advance and try and get 4 people. And
try and get that month sorted, yeah.
Try and get that 4 weeks sorted, and whoever gets back to you first, they get that first slot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they get a choice of. You want to fill that first one anyway because that's the closest one to now. You know what I mean? Like as you're organising it, and then you've got a little bit of freedom. You know, like a week's freedom to try and organise the other 3 is so helpful. So that's generally the way I try and work it. But sometimes it leaves me high and dry. Like the one I'm doing this week, I don't even know if the guy's going to turn up because every sort of interaction I've had with him has just been really blasé. Like his answers have just been.
Okay. It's kind of hard to pick him.
Yeah, I'll sit there and I'll give him the run and I go, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. This is how we're going to run it. This time, this date, you're all good for that. And it's just, yep, no worries. And then you kind of go into a little more detail, and the next response is, "Yep, no worries." Like I've kind of asked you for a little bit of input there, and your input was, "Yep, no worries." And I'm like,
I think it's again because you're in automotive. I don't think like a lot of people that you're seeing don't really get into podcasts that much either. Like they don't know as much. Like where I'm kind of lucky. It's kind of a curse because of how I run things. I go, all right, cool, let's have you on. Here's the date. Here's the time. Any questions, ask away. You know, if you want to know anything about the cars, how it's run, and like, what's the plan? What's the topics? I'm like, I don't have any of that. You're the topic. This is how this works. I wasn't expecting such direct questions. On my side of things, especially with the content creators, they know what goes into this stuff, which makes it easier, but also because I do things very impromptu, like more difficult for me because I'm like, all right, I have to have at least a basic plan of what's going on, and because I don't want to be the blasé guy that you're talking about. It's like, yeah, no, it's fine. We'll just it's whatever. Just chill out. It's a bit of a struggle for me. Maybe we should swap. I'll pretend I know something about cars. You can come back to doing a gaming podcast. And then
get some guests lined up and
then we'll be good. We'll guest swap one week. It'll be great.
Just do it out of the blue too. Just absolute surprise.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Guests are a nightmare. It's it's an interesting challenge.
Yeah.
It's soul consuming but I mean, you get some good fucking conversations out of it, which always makes it kind of
absolutely, man.
Worth it.
My biggest piece of advice, and I've done it myself, is make a list. Just everybody you want to talk to.
Yeah, I have one going.
Like just a massive list, and it could literally be, everyone from someone who's just started streaming, all the way up to like top. Whether it be like Phil Spencer or something like that, you know what I mean? Like unobtainable heights, write it all down.
Right, yeah.
And then just reach out to a few of them.
Yeah,
put the feelers out, reach out to a couple. And and then, if you feel like you've done really well. So the great thing that you've got with the podcast now is you have so many episodes behind you. If you sit there and go, hey, I'm from this podcast, someone can look into that and go, I've never heard of that. So I'll have a little bit of a look. Like, oh, wow, he's got over 100 episodes.
Yeah.
You've got that backing you. I've got like 30. So people look at that and go, hey, he's only got 30 episodes. All right.
You've done all my groundwork for me. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just rocked up and went, yeah, I'll be a guest, and here we are. How the turns have tabled.
Mm-hmm.
How the turns have tabled.
The old turntables.
But yeah, I've got a bit of a list going now. Not much in fine, and most of it's mental. I can't bring myself to write it down because that means I'm committing to something. And
Write it down, man.
No,
honestly, it just makes it easier on you.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I need to start doing that again. It's more me getting over that fear of like talking to someone I don't know, like not talking to, like initially reaching out to that person I don't know. I just get like massive hits of anxiety with that. I'm sorry. I know it'll be fine, but it's just getting my head over that hurdle is probably the biggest challenge for me, honestly. Once I get someone in here and talking, it's great. Yeah. But I think it's text-based conversations for me. I've never done well with. That's why I lurk in chats and stuff and streams too.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I'm talking to people, I never shut up.
See, for me, it was reaching out and organising it was fine. Getting a no back, I'd rather than getting a maybe. But it was that anxiety of, I'm about to meet this person for the first time. I've never actually spoken to them apart from this text-based sort of communication. We had to meet this person for the first time, and then the anxiety kicked in really hard. Then it doesn't so much happen. Doesn't so much happen now. But what I kind of do is I guess I kind of trick myself a little bit. Is I spend the time, because that anxiety is crazy, and I'm sure you know it. But so I spend the time and go, all right, I'm going to do some research, and I sort of write points down like, okay, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, and then I go through those points and then make questions out of it, and then kind of try and structure a conversation that you want to have with a person.
Yeah.
So this whole time you're doing homework, right? So you're stalking them is what you're doing.
Isn't that the best thing? You have this really good excuse
to stalk them,
just to fucking stalk people. Like I think it was when I had Mr. Geek on. She's like, oh yeah. Like, I started asking a question. She's like, oh shit, you really went through my resume. I'm like, well, yeah. She's like, I thought you were just gonna like read my Twitter bio or something. No. I get to stalk people. Yeah. I mean, not that I do that normally. Yeah. I promise. No. Unless it's static. Different story though.
We don't need to talk about that. But speaking of not liking text-based communications, I call bullshit.
You're fine. I've had many conversations with you to start with, so you're easy.
So what I guess I kind of offset now that anxiety with that structure that I've put in place.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying write it down, man. Like just getting in that habit of writing. All right, this is a list, and it's all honestly, it's just list.
Yeah,
and you can just structure everything that way. And by the time you've gotten there, you know what you want to go through, and it's literally have a quick glimpse at the list, and bam, you're still talking about it. You know what I mean? So it takes that anxiety out because you've kept yourself busy and not thinking about that. So by the time you're going into that conversation, that 5 minutes beforehand, you know your list. You're just sort of going over that, going, all right, like this is how we're going to do this and that. So definitely start writing it down, man.
Yeah, I will. How do you find? I know we're getting off gaming here, but fucking deal with it, listeners. This is a podcast now. How do you find? Because you've done both. I haven't. All mine have been kind of this kind of format, like via video call or just audio. And you've done a few like in-house kind of at their shops or at a garage somewhere, which also I love, by the way, hearing you guys arguing about birds in the backgrounds, and like what was, I think that particular episode, I think it was the episode before last, was it had like a guy working in the background. It just sounded really cool because you guys are talking about cars, there's a guy working, it's the whole give it a whole ambience thing. How do you find that, especially with the challenges of recording a podcast, the on call versus in person interviews?
All right. So when I'm very conscious of how somebody's going to be, I guess how perceptive of me someone will be. So if I'm approaching someone saying, "Hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast. Are you interested?" and they say yes, but give me some more details. Like, okay, well, I give them a rundown. Like we can. This is the time I do it. Like this is the date and time I do it. And I'll give them the date that I want them.
Yeah.
So which will generally be the next available date. that I record on. So generally, yep, straight away, that works really well. Time's fine, and I go, okay, so we can either do it via Zoom, Discord. I can come to your house, you can come to my house, I can come to your place of work, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yep.
So that's generally what you'll get. I've had a couple that have been in my lounge room, but the problem is you have to be really mindful of the person as well. Some people I kind of won't offer that to because I just don't know them. I've never heard of them. Or not that I've never heard of them. Obviously I've heard of them.
Don't know them well enough to kind of have them in your fucking house. Yeah.
Never ever spoken to them. Like a couple of people I've had connections to through mates and whatever else. So it's like, yeah, comfortable enough to have them come into your house. But at the same time, are they going to be comfortable with me going into their house?
Yeah.
I don't want to go to some random guy's house, but I don't want that random guy coming to my house. So if you can meet them on a neutral ground, which is theirs, generally they're pretty happy with it, which is their place of work or whatever else. Again, Zoom is really great for that. Discord, if they have it, not too many people in the automotive world even know about Discord. Not too many of them even know about Zoom, to be honest. But yeah, so that sort of thing, I don't know, like it lends itself really well. I started off, like literally started that podcast off recording in a mate's driveway on a phone. So you'd hear the cars drive past as we're talking. You'd hear the 7:45 bus roll past because we generally started at like 7:30. We weren't very smart in the way we sort of structured our timing. Like, hey, let's just wait for 15 minutes and let that bus go past because it's the last one.
Let it roll. It's fine.
Just let it roll. It was always the loudest thing that ever went past. And coming from that streaming background and the podcasting background where we were all sort of in a nice controlled environment where we were quite soundproof or like acoustically we were pretty mindful of our environments anyway.
Yeah.
Going to like just the outdoors and recording, I could hardly handle it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, this is terrible. I'm gonna people are gonna hate this. But when you're dealing with car people, they had a lot of comments like that people could really relate to it. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I started to actually enjoy that more.
Yeah.
So now, like if I go to like the one you're talking about in particular, I went to his workshop and he had a better spot in his workshop. Like he's like where his workshop is, he's got like a mezzanine where he's actually got his wife set up as a hairdresser. He goes,
cool.
If we need to, we can go up top there and it's pretty quiet up there because, I do all this stuff down here during the day and she's got clients up there getting haircuts and whatever else. And I just went, you know what? We'll keep it down here. It's perfect.
Yeah. Or you got I like it, man.
Yeah. All you got to do is just, make a quick note. Bang. The birds kick off and you just kind of acknowledge them and that's it. You know what I mean? And then you're excused for the rest of the night or the rest of the show. So.
Yeah, you have that hi camera. I mean, the using the environment like that is it's tough, especially for things like an automotive podcast. Like I can't have gun shooting and Puppiez happening in the background. That would just be too distracting. But like for people that like are listening for what they are with your content on Gutter to Gutter, it kind of it makes them feel more at home because they're hearing that kind of shit in the background.
I know there was one I did at I actually went to the track on a drift day and I was talking to people in the pits and whatever else and to me that's probably my most hated episode I've ever done. It was one of those weeks where I just had to get something out and it felt like unfinished homework.
Right.
When it finally went out, I just went, I hate this. And it wasn't even that the sound was bad, but the sound was bad. But like you're in the pits next to drift cars, people dragging jacks around and, like jacking cars up. You got, like sort of cordless rattle guns going off everywhere. And it was more of an experiment anyway to see what you can and can't get away with. And I found that in that environment, you can't get away with actually being in the pits. So for the most part, I sort of brought people away. But that's kind of the worst thing you can try and do on a day like that is take people away from their pit area where they're trying to do stuff to their cars and whatever else. So you got to be really mindful about when you approach people and whatever else. Everybody's generally pretty approachable, which is really good. Again, like my sort of social anxiety and just awkwardness comes into play there. And I really don't want to. I wouldn't want someone coming up to me while I'm way too busy, not being able to sort of read the room, I guess, and go, "Hey, do you want to come and do this?" Like, no, I don't.
Yeah. It's I get that at work all the time when customers come in. Oh, we'd love to chat to the chef, and I'm like a dock rail deep and fucking piles of shit everywhere. I'm like, I don't have time for your shit right now. Go away.
Yeah,
But I
I'd
have
love
to
to
be
chat.
nice about it because I don't get fired.
You, but right now I don't have the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's been fun. Like something that initially I could not stand, and that was another thing that sort of gave me massive anxiety was just the audio quality. I was like, this has to get better. I've got to do better than this.
Especially coming from, again, like the closed environment of gaming podcasting where you can control everything going to that. Yeah. So, number 1, fix your audio. Number 2, fix your fucking audio. So I can't do anything about this. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I think the worst thing I have to fight with is fans.
Yep.
Yeah, which isn't too bad.
No, fans are all right. I can get about those. So.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
Yeah.
So, run over some dealios before we go.
Yeah, sweet.
Yes.
Are you gonna go and download the ones that you say you're going to this week, or are you gonna forget about them again?
Fuck no.
was it what 2 weeks ago? I think I messaged you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it might have just been last week. Like, hey, did you download this? Like, no.
No.
And I realized by the time I messaged you, like, it was too late. Like, and it might have only been by a day.
Yeah, that's all right. You win some, you lose some. It'll come back around again, and I'll forget about it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got like a stockpile of podcasts in your playlist. You finally get to it and go, oh, I'll message him about that so he doesn't forget to download it. And then I look at it like, that came out 5 days ago.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So,
deals
you over on PlayStation this month even. We have Control, which comes with the free PS5 update. So if you want to get that and not pay for it because fuck them, get it now because it'll be gone in a couple of weeks, I think. So go to that. Our other freebie for PlayStation 5 is Concrete Genie. You've played this one, haven't you? Briefly.
I didn't play it. I got to watch it over people's shoulders.
Right. Okay. Can you tell me a bit more? Because every time this comes up, I'm like, Static seen this. I need to get Static to talk about it. And it's like I planned you coming here just for this particular fucking game. Not really.
Is that what that was about?
Yeah, 100%. So tell us a bit more about it, because I kind of read out the thing, but as someone who's watched the gameplay, a little bit more.
The general premise I picked up was like, you're in a dark and dreary town. I know there's more to it, but the general premise I picked up from just what I watched was you're in this dark and dreary town, and you've got to brighten it up, to kind of bring the light back to this city or whatever with your art. And it's pretty much you make like monsters on walls that you can then color and then bring to life, sort of thing. So it did look really cool. I don't know what's involved and what the purpose of all of that is, but the art direction and the colors and all that sort of gear sort of all mixed in together looked amazing. So everybody else, yeah, it's a freebie. I'd definitely go pick it. I absolutely will. I knew from listening last week that I've got to go and download that, and it was literally as I was sort of jumping on tonight, like there was freebies I had to download. What were they? Because I hardly even turn my console is literally a media machine now. Like I watch YouTube on it, and that's about it. So I don't even go looking for those deals anymore. But I knew there was something. I'm like, what was it? And as soon as you said it just then, I'm like, I have to get that.
That's what we're here for, so you don't have to look, right?
Yeah.
The PlayStation 5 freebie for this month is Destruction All Stars, which is like Rocket League meets a Demolition Derby game. You can get any car and do stuff. Looks mildly interesting. Bit of chaos. Nothing wrong with that.
I like Cars and Chaos.
Cars and Chaos are always fun. Speaking of Cars and Chaos, our PSN deal for this week is a WRC9 for $42.50.
Nice. I've not played that, but I believe that is the latest.
That is the latest one.
Of it. And that would have
it's down for like
been
$60.
mid last year, I think that came out. At a guess. That's a complete
Something
guess.
like that. Yeah. And they're pretty good anyway. So Game Pass pick of the week. I forgot to choose one. Should we do one live? Oh, hi. Look, there's a thing.
It's
Game
working so
Pass
well
pick
so
of this
far.
week. I know, so good. We are going to go with Project Winter,
Project Winter.
which is an 8-player game of deception. So it's you sabotage your friends. Very kind of Among Us in basic Among Us. Among Us. Among Us. This is the Elon Musk game.
Among Us-esque.
Among Us-esque style of game where you've got to betray your friends. Looks interesting. I might try and give it a go at some point if I can get 8 people together to play with me in the middle of the night.
I love the take on that exact take on like games like Among Us, and this one is like it's teaching you to get really good at lying to your family and friends.
Yeah, I played Among Us with our kids, and
Like, people that are really good at that really concern me. Hey,
it's interesting. I think just watching people play it too is really interesting, because just like how watching how other people are manipulating other people and like trying to put out that if it's like a panic, oh no, I didn't do it kind of thing, or if this is like cold and fucking calculated, and watching that play out to see if it works is all. I think that's the biggest draw of it. Like, there's nothing there spectacular gameplay wise with Among Us, but yeah, the psychology of it's very fucking interesting to watch. It intrigues me. So yeah, Project Winter, go lie to your friends and shoot them. You can actually shoot and poison people in this one, so there's a little more proactive murder, which is always nice to go along with your lying to your family and friends.
Sweet.
Games with gold this week, we have Resident Evil, the OG, still there. Lost Planet 2, Dundara, Trials of Fear, which has been a freebie, an epic freebie, quite frequently. Again, still, I think I've got it downloaded. I haven't played it yet though, so we'll get to that. And our other one, which is also on Game Pass, but they seem to be offering one with the month for those who don't have Game Pass but have Games with Gold, is Gears 5, which is a great game, good fun. Deals with gold this week. Generation Zero for $14.85. Generation Zero is a great little survival game that I've been playing a lot. It's kind of my go-to chill out and play with friends game, where you wake up and everyone is dead and robots have taken over the world or your country, and you have to kind of go visit military bases and figure out what happened while hunting robot dogs. And then the robots get bigger and bigger, and then the robots summon other, like, there's like one robot that you fight in there, and it's like fucking 4 stories tall, and its thing is it just summons other robots that are twice your size.
Nice.
Constantly, and there's some panic. Because you have to find all your ammo and all your guns and your ammo and craft it all and stuff. So you have to be very smart about how you're doing things as well. I say chill game, and then I'm like, by the way, you'll be constantly in a state of panic.
How Horizon Zero Dawn-esque is that? Because it's literally all I'm picturing as you're explaining that.
Not that flowy. So it's set back in the 80s. But the game itself is set in the 80s. So think 80s robots. So they're very robotic. Like there's some that kind of look like dogs. Others that look like walking mechs. Yep. Kind of like think like OG like Transformer-esque kind of looks.
Yep.
That's kind of what you're looking at with that. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Cool.
One day I'll finish the story. It's there's a lot of exploration to do on there, which is always great. Over on the Switch this week, we have Little Nightmares Complete Edition for $7.95. The sequel for this came out, and I'm hearing nothing but amazing things. Little Nightmares is apparently good as well. Yeah. It'll be a good little game for the Switch. It's very from what I've peeped of it, because this is the freebie that Static messaged me about 5 days late. This is totally your fault that I haven't played it. It looks very Limbo-esque. In the way the gameplay works and stuff like that. So that kind of genre of game looks gorgeous though. Especially the second one looks phenomenal. I was watching some gameplay of it just before you jumped in call with me tonight, and it looks really good. Over on the Epic Store this week, we have Halcyon 6, which is a retro space RPG, turn-based RPG. A lot of those coming out on the Epic Store, which is really good. It's nice to see that kind of genre getting some love. I know there's quite a few people that would appreciate it. So yeah, that's your freebie this week. I think there's some more coming up shortly. I think this is only here for a couple more days, so grab it as soon as you can if you're listening to this as soon as you can, which you totally should be.
Within a couple of days, yeah.
Within a couple of days, yeah. But yeah, that's our freebies and all our shit for this week. So thank you for coming on, dude. It's always a good time catching up, even if we just
rant about podcasting.
I mean, that's what people are here for, right? The rants, right? It's the rants. Oh my god!
What did we miss?
Podcast name: Rants and Bants.
You've literally kicked off 2 other podcasts tonight. You're welcome.
I know, right? Thank you.
I'm going to claim them. I'm going to say that these are my. You can have them for free.
I barely have enough time to run one podcast, but now I'm going to run 3. 2 are very similar.
You should get guests for all of them. It'd be fine.
Oh, mate. I think I could do that. You know, I could actually do that if I quit my job and just never left my computer, constantly messaging people. We might be onto something. I might be able to get a weekly thing going for 3 of them for about a month, and then cry and give up. That'd be great. But for those who don't know, I mean, fucking, if you listen to this podcast enough, you know who the fuck Static is. But for formality's sake, good sir, where the fuck can we find you on the internet?
You can find me anywhere you find podcasts by searching for Gutter to Gutter Podcast. That's where you'll find me. You'll find me personally on Instagram these days. It's at static_gutter to gutter.
Very, very good.
Consistency.
Consistent as fuck.
Yep. What about you?
Some inconsistency. You can occasionally find me on Twitch and Twitter at deft_puppies with a fucking Z. I should really change that so my entire gamer tag is with a fucking Z.
Yeah, you should.
I think it's gonna be on brand for me at this point. But
you
actually,
can find me there. Spell puppies with an S before you say it with a motherfucking...
puppies with an S and then with a Z. Yeah. I like it. Fucking rebrands everywhere tonight. I'm gonna be fucking busy.
You got this. I have faith.
So you can find me there occasionally doing the shit, talking stuff. If you would like to follow all the things the podcast does or get in touch with us at all, you can find us on Twitter at left_pod. You can find us on Instagram at 2LeftThumbsPodcast, because fuck consistency. And you can also find the video versions of all our podcasts, or most of them. Occasionally I have a guest who doesn't like video, and that's okay, because we like to make people comfortable. You can find us over on YouTube, where all the video versions of the podcast will be released, normally the Friday after they've been out, so a couple of days after, so I can give those wonderful audio listeners who put up with my shitty visual references time to go, wait, I need to see what's going on there. It's all marketing. Also, guys,
the reaction to the guest question, perfect.
Yeah, the reaction to the guest question, you need to go back and see that. It'll also be on the socials. I'll clip it for the sake of clipping it. I am, as we spoke tonight, I'm looking for guests. So if you guys know anyone or have anyone in mind that you would love for me to interview or talk to, or you'd just like to hear their opinions on a game or a subject in games in general, get in touch with me and let me know. I have a post on our socials at the moment. Maybe tag them in that and start the conversation for me, so I have to do less work. That would be great. Also,
absolutely,
while you're at it, rate and review the podcast on your listening platforms of choice, because I need that validation in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. You all have a fantastic week. Happy gaming. Talk to you next time. Bye.
See you, mate.